wiki page that Bella is going to be covering today. I put that in the chat. And so for those of you, we are trying a like hands-on session. We haven't done that. I don't know if we ever have. If we have, it's been a while. And so, you know, we'd like you guys to follow along in your logged in account, your Atlassian account. So, and that way you can create filters and customize your dashboard the same time along with Bella when she's going in and creating filters in her dashboard. But if you get stuck, that's okay. I'll be watching the chat. If I can try to help you out in the chat, great. But if it's not working on your end for some reason, then just shoot something in the chat, and then maybe we can, you know, or create a ticket, and we can try to go over some of that together later. But like I said, we're going to try to attempt it here. And you can just basically, you know, logged into your account, and you can just kind of play along and just get a little bit comfortable. You're not going to do any harm, you know, creating a dashboard. You can delete your dashboard and start over. But yeah, we just kind of wanted to get you comfortable in the JIRA dashboard and creating filters and making it more useful for you. So I think we're good to go, Bella. So I'll go ahead and have you start the recording. And anyone have any questions before we begin? Okay.
I believe, yeah, the recording is on.
It is.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fridays with Fiscal. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful, windy Friday the 13th. So I'm just, you know, prepared for many things to go wrong today with me being in the driver's seat, but I will try to, you know, just avoid any type of a disaster. So as Michelle mentioned, we are trying a different approach today, and the reason for that is like our goal is to have everybody being able to complete the setup by the time the session is over, and then you can just run with it and never look back. Because unfortunately, that is exactly what I did last year. Amanda did an amazing job covering all the ITC resources for everybody, and I was multitasking and I never finalized the setup. And then I realized how much I missed out on and how useful it would have been had I really had I really completed everything at that time. So I know everybody's very busy. So if we can carve out this time and, you know, focus on getting this set up, it's very basic. It's quick and easy. I will try to make it as smooth as possible for everybody. But then you have this great resource on your hands that you can rely on and use this right after this session. That is our goal. I cannot guarantee you that everything will go, you know, smoothly, but I'm gonna do my best. Okay, so additionally, we also want to revisit this topic because as with technology lately, everything's changing, and there have been many changes since last year. JIRA had a new version released. The layouts changed, some of the functionalities changed. They removed certain gadgets, and so even if you had already started or you did better than me last year and managed to set up the JIRA dashboard, there are some different functionalities now that hopefully you will find useful. So that's the goal. And why do we emphasize the importance of this platform as a resource for the ITCs? So this is what the development team uses to track all the updates, the scheduled updates for future releases, improvements, enhancements. And this tool can be very useful. It offers full transparency as to where everything is. So you can watch the progress on all the projects that the developers are working on, track issues that your districts are waiting for, or also use this platform um, to find out if there are issues in place and let us know if there's additional requests for that, because when it comes to feedback issues, especially, the number of times requested is crucial because that has to go through the prioritization committee. So your votes, your feedback is crucial in getting a lot of these projects moved up on the priority list. So yeah, so that's why we feel that this platform can be such a it's a huge resource for ITCs, and we're trying to get you more comfortable with utilizing it. And as you know, SSDT has been in an implementation phase for a few years now, and we will be also releasing 2 more modules soon, very soon. I won't say when, which is exciting news, but that will bring additional needs for enhancements and fixes. So this is the best platform you can utilize to keep track of everything, keep things organized, and also pull information from here that you can relate to your districts, take to roundtable sessions. And I'll show you how to build it out and how you can export data from here that you can use for your training sessions as well. Okay, so we are going to get started. Michelle sent out an email, I believe it was Tuesday. So anyone who was signed up by Tuesday would have received the email. Anyone who registered afterwards has not. However, if you have your AD account that you use for logging into the wiki or the help desk, it's the same account you will need to use for this session. In case you do not have an account, as Michelle said, please reach out afterwards and we can work with you to set it up. Okay, so let's get started. I am actually logged in. Let's see. Michelle posted in the chat the link to the documentation, and I can also walk you through the steps on where to find it on the wiki for future reference. So if you go to our main page and the SSDT meetings and trainings page, this is where all the ITC resources are posted. So it would be under the ITC only support resources and materials. And today we will be only looking at this document, customizing a JIRA dashboard. And there were changes made to this in the past few hours. So if anyone had, if anyone pulled a previous version and has a printout, I just suggest that you go back and either print up a new copy or just follow, make sure you refresh and pull the updated information. Okay, so the very first step we will cover will be creating filters. So setting up the JIRA dashboard is pretty easy. I think it's just like there's more steps outlined in the document than what it actually takes to complete it. But we do want to go into all the details, and then we will create a filter. We will show you how to create a filter, build additional filters off of that. And there's going to be instances when you can also use some default system filters, and I'll go over the functionality for those. And once those filters are created, it's just very easy step of adding a gadget. to your custom dashboard. And once that's done, we can customize, play around with the layout, and you're all set. And then this is good to go because it will continue to work for you, capture everything, and you can track all the work that happens behind the scenes. Okay, so under step 1, for you can access the link to the JIRA dashboard. So assuming that you have not done anything in the system yet, this is what it should default to. So there's a default dashboard. I am logged in. I am so sorry. Let me log out. I just want to make sure I'm under the right account. Okay, so this is the login page. And we will be following this documentation step by step. So we are under step 1, showing you the login page. Let's see if I can do. Okay. So this arrow in the far right corner should prompt you to choose an account to continue. I will be using my test account. Everyone else, you would be using your AD account. As I mentioned, if you're already logged into the wiki, you should be able to easily log in. Okay, and this ended up being my landing page. It depends on what you last clicked on. Everyone will see something slightly different depending on whether they had any type of setup previously. But the very first tab on this panel is for you. So this would be most likely blank for most of you. Now that we are logged in, and I'm hoping that everyone is able to follow along. Let me watch the chat. If there are any issues, please feel free to also unmute and let me know, because I might not be noticing all the chats. So please do not hesitate to interject, because I would like everyone to be able to follow along. So the very first item, once you log in, is this navigation panel on the left side. This is actually one of the changes that took place since the last version. So I know that all the previous sessions and recordings had a different layout. So it had the menu options up here. They removed them. And so your navigation panel is on the left side now. And the first thing we can do, and in case you don't see this navigation panel, you will need to click up here. So you can hide it with this little arrow up here, and then click it again so it shows on your screen. And so the first item I would customize, as you can see, there's quite a few. It's pretty cluttered on this side, so we can clean it up because there's so many things that you would not need. As you start adding filters, it will end up looking a little cluttered anyway, but we want to get rid of some things that you will not be using. So if you click on this customize sidebar, everything is checked by default. So your JIRA navigation options are all checked. So for you, that's an option that will be always checked, available. Recent, you would probably want to keep, because if you access something and you'd like to go back to it, that's the easiest way to retrieve that. Start, we also recommend that you keep checked because any filter that we create in the system will be automatically created as a start filter. So that's where you will find all your custom filters that we'll be creating today. Apps you can actually remove from here because it's just like different apps connected through the JIRA page, which, you know, like that's just mainly for the developers or, you know, when you use it for tracking or actually when you have edit rights to this page, that's when it would be useful. Spaces, we definitely want to keep, and I'm going to go over all of these categories once we have this customized. Spaces is what used to be projects. So the projects gadget is another change that was removed, eliminated with the version update. Filters we want to keep, dashboards. Operations we can remove, so I would uncheck that. And down here, you'll see these app shortcuts, which are right over here. And Teams is specific to teams who use JIRA for tracking work. It's not for, so you're not gonna need that, basically. And then assets, you can also remove. So this should clear it up some. So if you save these changes, you see it already looks better up here. And you might even have less unless you had filters created in the past. And with this Confluence app, you can actually access the wiki. So you can just use that option to access it directly from your dashboard. You probably all have it bookmarked, but you know, it's an option. Okay, so we customized the navigation pane, and that wasn't a pain at all, right? And so we can move on to setting up your filters, because that is the first step we need to complete. And then once the filters are created, we can set up the different gadgets and go over how you can best utilize these. Any questions so far? I'm trying to keep track of the chat. Okay, it looks like everyone's following along. Okay, so in the documentation, we are under step 2. Creating filters. So these filters are, so there's 2 options. You can create basic or advanced searches to find work items. And you can enter different parameters, which we will say, which we will go over. And then once you select all the options that will be most useful to you, then we can go ahead and save those filters and then copy and create additional ones off of those. We also outlined here what the recommended spaces and projects are to create filters for, because the listing of projects in the wiki, it's like it's just endless. But of course, you know, you're only concerned about the applications that you're supporting, all the fiscal applications, so employee self-service, all the feedback issues and the core issues are tracked separately. So that's why you will find like a use as feedback versus a USPS versus a use as R. They're still using the terminology. We kind of got rid of the R from all the other documentation, but they're coded with these labelings in the system. So that will, I don't expect that to change anytime soon. Okay, so we can get started on creating our start filters. So I will go back to my panel that we just worked on. Okay. So on here, you'll see the filters drop down. And I already have some in there. Yours should probably have less items. Bottom line is you'll have to scroll all the way down because everyone will have the default filters. Those are preset and included with everybody's setup. And you'll see this little view all filters option. So this is where we need to go. And you will, sorry, I keep moving my Zoom out of my way. And you will see this listing. So these are all preset filters. They're all private filters. It shows many of these were created by the developers. And they're all private, as you can see. The filters we will be creating today will be private as well, which means that they can only be edited by you and viewed by you. And so if we click the create filter option, here we are. So this is where we can customize the filter options and create different ones for various scenarios that will be useful to you at the ITCs, where you can keep track of the different spaces or projects. So I use this term interchangeably because it's it shows they actually changed it to space here, but there's some places I did see they're using projects as the label. So we'll get started on this. So this shows all the work that's available and currently is, well, being tracked through this system. A lot of this has been completed already, and then there's a lot of outstanding issues. So it's just a huge data set that we need to narrow down and tailor it to anything that's relevant to you. So the very first icon here, we're going to start off with this. It will default to this basic option, which is a basic query, which it means that we will have to manually choose all the selections. The next option would be JQL, which is JIRA Query Language. It's a language I don't speak. It's not pretty. But there are some queries that are more complex, which are preset by JIRA. So luckily, you don't have to go through the torture of creating the JQL ones, but I will cover like in what instances you would need this option. So we're going to keep it basic. And I also noticed, like, if you access a query that's in that's a JQL, an advanced query, it will not revert back to basic. So it will, like, you have to click back here after creating a JQL version. Okay, so then very first option here is the space option, which is along the same lines of how our documentation is built out. So every single page is it has its own space. So you have the USAS, the USPS, inventory, employee self-service, IPDIPI, and we actually have two more coming, as I mentioned, and I will share those codes for you. So you can actually create filters for those in preparation for what's coming, school comp and SubHub. So I will start off with creating an example here, and then we can address any additional requests or ideas that you may have and help you further customize them. So my favorite space is, I'll just use USPS. Okay, for USPS, you will only be looking for USPSR and USPSR feedback. So these are the core projects. USPSR is anything that is, guaranteed that it will be corrected. The feedback issues, those have to go through the whole voting process through the prioritization committee. But that's why for those, it's so crucial that we get those number of times increased. So the more requests you receive for multiple districts, please open a ticket with us so we can add your vote to those. You cannot do anything as far as like if you add a vote on the JIRA page, that will not do anything. And I learned that the hard way. Let me just put it that way. So yeah, we definitely need tickets open for every single district requesting a specific feedback issue. So I normally track these two separately. It's up to you. If you'd like to keep it combined, you can. So you can actually choose both if you want JIRAs and feedback issues. The reason I keep it separately because there's a nuance there. So, like if it's a feedback issue, but you feel like it should really be high priority, that way you can distinguish between these and maybe just bring it up and, or bring it up with your steering committee person from the, I don't know, I mean, we have members from ITCs or districts. So that's why I recommend tracking these differently. I mean, separately, but it's up to you. You can always tell these apart because as you see on here, the USPSR that's a JIRA and the USPSR FB is the feedback issue. So you can also, keep track of these that way. I will keep these combined for this demonstration. Oh, oops. And you would never need any of the other options here. So we have, and you just have to click out of that window for the records to be saved. The next option is assignee. You would never really need to use this. This is mainly for assigning the developers on the developer team side. So you can always skip that step. Same thing with the type. So there are some subcategories under type. However, those are really not relevant to, I would not really narrow it down by this because then you might miss out on certain issues being returned through when you run the filter. Even if you'd like just to keep track of bugs, there's times when, I know when I was at the ITC, I opened every ticket, just labeled as support, never really differentiated. There's really no guarantee if it's a bug or not. It's hard to tell sometimes. So I would not use any of these options. Just leave it blank and that way, everything will pull in. Status, that is very important. And we actually have this outlined in our documentation also, like what statuses are what statuses count for outstanding issues. So there are some standard ones that we utilize. Some look like they could qualify, but I've really not seen them used. So that's why we listed the specific statuses on the documentation. And it is, let's see. I know I'm close. It's right here. Okay. Status. My Zoom's going. So add any additional columns to your view that may be helpful. And we listed like everything that's relevant for status. So when you're looking to create a filter for outstanding, you would choose new, open, pending, in progress, in review, and documentation. And I'll show you on here. So documentation, this status is, we always like to see this one because it means that it's ready for release. So the developers have already finalized their testing, and they made it available to the support team where we can update the documentation for whatever changes are being implemented. So this is definitely one that you would like to include in your outstanding filter, in progress, in review, new, and open. And I think pending is the other one. Sometimes reopened. I would also check reopened. Because sometimes they close it and then they realize, well, it needs to be reopened, or it was tracked under a different issue and they're consolidating all the issues. So I would include that as well. Okay, so I have any questions so far on the statuses? So this is the selection I have here pertains to outstanding items. However, you might want to create a filter for closed items separately. So anything that would have been solved, it would be resolved, and then there's an option for closed. So those would be tracked separately in case you'd like to see anything that was resolved, or you would like to see if there was an issue, if this has been addressed and maybe it's not working as it's supposed to, and you see it's resolved, so you can reach back out to us to tell us there's an issue. So it would make sense to have a separate filter just for your closed items. Okay, but with this demonstration, we're creating the outstanding filter for all the USPS, JIRA, and feedback issues. So most of the time, the filters will default to within the last 30 days. We probably do not want that. We want to track everything that's outstanding. There's situations where, you might want to only look for anything that recent. There's another way and an easier way to pull those, which I will show you next. So I would clear that filter. So this would give me anything that's outstanding. And under more filters, so here we have multiple options. And there's only a few that we find that would be useful. You feel free to look through these some more after the session if you feel that, maybe you find something in there that you feel like it would make sense. You can just, get as creative as you want with all of these. There's so many options. That's why it's such a great resource. So I believe we also listed what additional, so here they are. So the fixed version would be one that would be under that more option, times requested, watchers, which comes into play when you're looking at feedback issues or any watched issues. And I'll show you, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now how you can watch the issues by clicking the little eyeball on the JIRA issue. So all of those you can track separately, and we're going to actually create a gadget for that. And you'll be able to tell how many other people are watching it. And then once again, that way you can just leverage that and, keep advocating for issues you're trying to get moved up on the list of priorities. Okay, back to more. Another option that I believe, filter option that would be useful. So for a fixed version, I'm going to choose fixed version here. And if you choose all unreleased versions, unreleased meaning upcoming, it will give you any of the, and you would have to make sure that you have all the spaces included. Right now, this is only set for USPS, but it will give you all the release versions, which I would have to add through this column, which we will go to next, but you know, I'm just jumping a little bit. Oops. Nope. And what's nice, you can always enter your search, like you don't have to scroll through. And here it is. And now you can drag this column and move it over. So you can actually see the release versions. So you'll be able to tell what issues are coming up and will be included, any outstanding issues with the next release. So you can get ahead of the game and keep track of, especially that I know there's a few issues that everyone's been eagerly waiting on. I'm not even going to mention overtime in W2 report. But if you're wanting to find out like what's coming next, you can easily do it this way. And also, as far as the fixed versions, as you can tell, this is like preset. So every year it starts with the calendar year, so 2026, and then depending, they go in sequence. So I believe our latest release that's just going out today or went out today, it's going to be 3.0, and then you can already see the 4.0s. And this list may grow, you know, as developers are working on things, and we may get additional issues that may need to be added last minute. But I believe that this is just a great way of monitoring upcoming changes as well. Any questions? Everyone's so quiet. I hope you know you're still able to follow along. Okay. So this was a little sidebar. I'll remove this because I just want all the outstanding issues. And that's it. We pretty much have our first filter. So what I did here is I selected all the JIRA and feedback issues for payroll that have an outstanding status. And we can go ahead and save the filter. However, before I do that, we can also look through the options for columns that you would like displayed once you run this filter. So for that, we can go to this more option here. And as I mentioned, this is where you would you can remove or add columns. So for instance, you might not want to see you know, the reporter will be most likely you know, one of us or a developer. That's really not that relevant to you. You can uncheck that. Oops, it looks like. And so anything that's checked is currently displaying on this grid. And so you can uncheck those, whichever are not useful to you. And then you can add additional ones. And as I mentioned, um, only a few would be helpful from here. It's a pretty long list. I don't know what some of these would do. Sentiment. Yeah, it's interesting. But I believe we already have all the relevant ones included because I moved the watchers and the times requested. That's crucial. That's you would always want to keep track of that because that way you have an idea of like where it's at currently because you might just assume. I know I used to assume, well, I requested it once, that's enough. No, you have to make sure that um you come back and emphasize the need, for this feature, and just as much feedback as you receive, please relay it to us because that's what really gets things moving. So hopefully this helps. And now we are ready to save our first filter. So you can go ahead and click save, and you will be prompted to save this filter, to give it a name. So it's totally up to you, whatever makes it relevant to you and easy to distinguish on your list. So I would name this outstanding USPS. Oops, not service tickets. Those would be our outstanding USPS, JIRA, and feedback issues. Feel free to add a description if it's something very specific. I would definitely add a description, like you can even add a comment on this, this is for this issue, or it could be just pertaining to a couple districts, needing a specific functionality or change. So you can add any type of description here. Right now, just use the same one. You can leave it blank as well. And these will default to private, and you want to keep these private. So what this means that only you can view it and no one else can edit your filter, which I'm sure you do not want. Since you go through all this work, you do not want others messing with your filters. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this.
Can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
Good morning, Bella. This has been awesome so far. Hey, so with the viewers, I've clicked that drop down. Does my organization mean WOCO? Because in some ways, I kind of think I want my other coworkers to see this so that I can build them all. Or does my organization mean SSDT and then all of you can see my filters?
So that's a great question. I actually tested it. I have even some ITC people show up as part of that list, as part of the group. For me, it's hard to check on it now because this is a test instance and like this is I don't have anything connected to this account. If you choose that option to share it with the organization, can you save it that way, Andrew, and then let me know what it does?
It does, when I pick it, it does say any logged in user on mcoecn.atlassian.net, like in text next to it. So I'm thinking that's not what I want. Like I just was wondering, and then there's group. Oh no, group. If you do this and group, it lets you pick and it's got the list of like the groups from ADM. Like I can pick Woco JIRA users. Like go to viewers and then click group.
Okay. Oh, and it does show because you see my list. I don't have anything in my list because it
Mine lists all the groups that I can put
Okay.
things in on ADM. So I have a lot of groups because of, EFP. But like I can see Woco underscore JIRA underscore users, which I assume is my right. Like that's my group that lets people go into this on ADM.
Yes.
So I kind of the reason I point that out is because I'm in here and my coworkers aren't, and like I wonder if some
Yeah,
of us have that where we would like to set this up for coworkers so that they don't
absolutely.
also have to do it.
If you see those options, I would totally encourage you to do that. Although this is, just keep in mind, this will give them editor access. So,
Mine's under viewers. I have viewers
oh,
and
you do
group.
have it under viewers?
Yeah,
Okay, because I don't have
yeah.
any. Yeah, under viewers, I only have the private option. But as I mentioned, like everyone on this call, if you could just check your own individual setup, because it's based on how everything is handled, within your organization.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I didn't break something before. I was like, I think that this will do it, but I don't want to.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
don't want to send
and
SSDT
that's
a
a
bunch of notifications. Have me in here messing with this.
Yeah, so if you have that option under viewers, totally. With editors, I'd be a little more cautious because if you have any on out there that you care about and it gets I mean they can still copy any of these that they can view and make it their own version. So that's the nice thing about it. So if you can use the viewer option and you see the right group, that's definitely the recommended way of sharing the joy with everybody. Thank you, Andrew. Anyone else? Any other questions? And there's also another option to share. So this would be more in scenarios when you don't have those groups set up or you cannot share it the way Andrew just pointed it out. So there is a share option here. And I actually tested it. So you can use the email address for anyone from your team that you would like to share um, um, filter with. And then you can either copy the link and email it to them, or you can just share it directly by entering the email and click share. And I already included the screenshot in my documentation. So if you were to share it that way, this will be the subject line. They will receive an email which may initially go into their spam folder, because that's what it did on our end. Here it is. So the subject will be JIRA username. So like, however you have it set up. Share the filter, and it will be the custom filter name, like outstanding USPS reports with you. And they will receive a link in the email. They're just gonna have to click it. It will automatically place it on their dashboard. So that's another way of sharing this with your coworkers and teams at the ITCs. And that's the whole idea. That's why I tested at least this option of sharing, because I wasn't sure if those groups will pull in for you. And it's definitely it's a great way of having everybody eventually have access and have this setup completed. Okay. And so I say my filter. Did I? I'm sorry. I believe I did. And this is how you can check. Right. It's right here. So as soon as you save your filter, it moves it to the start section. Please disregard these other ones because I was playing around in there. But if you were following along and created a filter, you should be able to see it on this panel under Start. And so now that I have my filter, what is nice is that I can just build as many as I want off of this one. So basically the core, the very first step, the template has been created, so to say. Because this kind of works like a same concept as in redesign. You have your advanced query, and then there are so many different options that you can give it a name and save it under that specific name and just, you know, always choose it. It will have your parameters selected. And you don't have to go through all those steps again. It's the same concept. So I have my filter displaying here. So it will not let you, fortunately, override it. So you would just have to do copy filter. So when you copy this filter, you want to make the changes beforehand. But I can use this as my template. So let's say the next filter, I would like that for that to be, we can have use as, let me just do one on the, I don't know if we have any issues on, no, because those will be all developer issues for the school comms and SubHub. Let's just do, what is the hot topic lately? Hippy dippy. Okay, so this space or project has only these two categories. So it has the JIRA planes, the JIRA issues and the feedback issues. So you can choose both. Okay, and this is great. Sometimes you'll notice it actually went away. But when you switch to a different space, you might have some of these other options turn red, which means that some of the statuses might not be applicable from the original filters, the space used in the original filter. So if you see that any of these are red after you switch to a different space here, you can just click that drop down and it will tell you exactly which fields do not pertain to that filter. And you would just need to uncheck those because it might prevent the filter from working correctly. So you want all of these in blue. And so now we have all I needed to do here really is to change the space. I already have the outstanding items marked and it looks like it's just the status is match. I didn't have to change anything. And I can just go ahead and save this filter. And you just build off of these until, you know, you have a whole set that is on the different applications and the different statuses. So this one, because I'm using the template. So I'm using my original filter. Here, when I click Save Filter, it will ask me if I want to save the changes under the same filter, or do I want to save as a copy? And you want to make sure you choose Save as a copy in this instance. There could be scenarios when you're just editing an existing filter and you want to keep that same one with the same name, then you would use Save Changes. And what's nice, the system will never ever let you override something. It will detect any type of modification on any of these filter options and will prompt you to choose one of these options. So you cannot just easily override anything without realizing that, you know, it's not the right filter. Okay, and then also another cool feature, since we're still on this page, I'll just go over all the other options. So you have this option up here, apps, and you can choose, well, this is another one that I will need your feedback on because when I try to access it, and I don't know if it's because of my support account, like the PDF version did not work. It said license expired. I have access to PDF, so I don't know if it's just specific to this account. Google Sheets didn't work for me. Microsoft Excel did. And I will go through these steps. So it will ask you to allow a new tab. And I want it to download on my desktop, Excel on desktop. And it's creating the file. Okay, so your PDFs, yeah. Yeah, it looks like in JIRA, it's not, it either needs a separate license or, yeah. But we would only mainly prefer to have Excel anyway. I rarely use PDF for presentations. I mean, it would make more sense to have it in this Excel format because then you can also sort through this. And what's nice, it will have everything that you have in those columns that we selected. So it will give you the summary, the fixed version. And when I feel like this would be very useful at the ITCs, it's let's say you're preparing for a roundtable and or a training on overtime changes for this year. And it can be very useful to have this tool on your hands. And then if districts are asking, like, where are we with this issue? When will this take place? You can just download this list and say, well, they're working on these, whatever has a fixed version, you can already predict or, like give them estimated time of when the changes would be released. Or also, you can just share different issues that are being worked on and review it with your districts and see if they have other ideas. So, it's a great tool, I believe, for any type of training session and for uh, prompting more feedback from your districts. I know we use this a lot when we're preparing for specific topics we're covering during our presentations, Fridays with Fiscal. This is how we pull all the information that we share with you to show you. These are the outstanding issues right now that the developers are working on, and these are the expected release dates or versions. And if you don't see a fixed version and it's something urgent, I mean, you can always reach out and check in with us. We can check with the developers if they have a specific time for any of these releases, and then we can share that with you. Okay. And yes. And it's interesting how they have it on their apps. I don't know, because it used to say export in the old version, so that's also changed. Because at first, like I was worried that it totally went away, that the export option went away, but it's on their apps, and I have that on documented as well. And a couple other options here. So you can do a detail view. Right now we are under the list view. If you go to the detail view, so it will actually show you the issues in the labels, descriptions in this column. And then you will be able to see the JIRA displaying on the side panel. Okay, yeah, so whatever works for you best. I mean, I think, you know, just to keep it in a list format makes more sense, but if you'd like to see some details as you scroll through, you can easily switch back and forth between the two view options. And yeah, and then it will have all the details on these issues as well. Another way for you to verify what else is going on. Sorry, my scroll bar is not cooperating. So you can also look for any changes, updates under this history tab. So you can kind of see that they're working on and they're testing. They're doing testing on these issues. The work log, I think that's, yeah, no, that's for the developer side, but you can check the comments under the history for all of these. And if I could navigate. And I know why, because it's kind of, you know, trying to get my, I'm using 3 screens. That's my struggle. Okay, so back to our list mode, and then we also have, now look at that. Here's the export option. Well, there you go. So you have a lot more options. I am so glad because I kept looking for the export, and then I clicked the apps first. I'm like, wow, that's an interesting location for that.
Bella, can you show how you got there again, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
I mean, I hope I know how I got there. I just happened to come across. I just clicked the 3 dots right next to these 2 display screens, the detail view, the 3 dots, and then export. So I think this will take care of, I mean, the other way works as well. It will get you an Excel file. Let me try. You don't have PDF on here. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, but you have a lot of, let me see how this works. Wow. Yes, PSR. It's asking for a form. That's not sure what they mean by form. Not see all fields. Okay, this looks better. So this is the, yeah, this format would work. It's a little more cluttered, but you can easily delete, you know, the columns that you don't need. So the option that worked, and I will update the documentation to include this additional tool. So I clicked on here, clicked on export, and then CSV all fields. Let's see if I do my defaults. Oh, and this one, this is fast. Yeah. So my defaults would be probably better because this is the actual grid that you have set up. Okay, well, I'm glad that I got to discover something else today. And yeah, because I was puzzled, like how come the export is just disappeared and they only have this doesn't really this is mainly for opening it, I believe, but it still downloads it where you can work directly in the browser. but no, it will move it to your download folders anyway. So there's options, as you can see. Let me close this and this. Yeah, so you can get the same result from both options, but I think this is more user-friendly. It makes a little more sense. It's just kind of hidden there. But now that we know it's there, feel free to use this one. Let's see what it would look like in Word. Whatever works best for as a presentation tool for your districts, because I assume that's where you would mostly need it exported so you can share this during your meetings. Oh, oh, I have many screens open. Yeah, that's not. I don't recommend. Can you see my Word document?
Yes.
Yeah, it does not look like that's one you would use. So I would just use the CSV. Okay. And then just another feature which is not even documented, because I would say you just take this with a grain of salt. There is a new feature in here that's Ask AI. And it's kind of cool, but then it's also I would not totally trust. I mean, AI speaks the JIRA query language, claims to speak the language. So I actually tested this last night. So you can try to build that a filter, but I cannot guarantee you it will capture everything. And it even says, AI results might be incorrect. It's there if you would just like to play around for fun. What did I find? All USPS issues related to overtime. Okay, so it did find everything, like it went back. So I could say all outstanding. Okay, so it built a filter. However, I don't know, like if it knows to choose all the right categories and types, and I would really not rely on this right now. I just, in case you come across or you want to play around with it, you can, but this may be the direction we're going, or that's all the direction we're heading in. But I just wanted to show you that AI is here. And yeah, I'm just trying to see the results. Yeah, it's like test review in progress. It probably picked up more. So yeah, that's coming. We'll probably have to have more sessions as at the rate technology is changing. So but hopefully they're not gonna change too much about this setup. Okay, so this is so I showed you two ways of creating filters, and there's one more filter option that you might find useful at times. So the system has these preset filters. Oops. Under the navigation pane, you'll see default filters. So these are system filters. So everybody will have the same. These you cannot edit. However, and I have this listed as well in the documentation, you can use some of these for situations when you just want to just run something on the fly, like on demand. And I don't think like any of these would be useful because these are too wide, and then these are specific to the development team. All work items that's like too much. These viewed recently, created recently, resolved recently, and updated recently. I can see these being useful in situations when, so let's say we have this outstanding USPS issue, USPS JIRA and feedback issue filter. And based on the actual statuses, it means like as soon as something that you've been watching on that list that is marked as resolved, it will no longer show on this. So if, let's say, if it just got resolved and you're trying to find the issue, so you can just easily go to this resolved recently. And it will automatically, it's preset to run it, to look at anything that was resolved within the last week. So it could be just an issue that, you need to look at the details of it, and it's no longer displaying on your outstanding filter. So you can go ahead and just run this filter real quick, and it would give you anything resolved within the last week. And this should not be a long list. So you can just easily, you don't even need to narrow it down to anything specific. You can just scroll through and hopefully find the one you're looking for. You can also change these options. So you can add a date range or between, or anything resolved after a specific period or after a specific date. So these, as I mentioned, you cannot really modify. You can copy them and build more, but it wouldn't really make sense to keep a separate filter just for anything recent, because as I mentioned, these are just for like very rare occasions when you need to look at things that are no longer captured within the filter because of the parameters, but you can easily just run these to identify them. Any questions on those? And then does everybody have a filter? I guess that's my question. Does everybody have a start filter? Yay, that's awesome. Okay. That was the goal. Thank you. So, and probably two, or, oh, two of them, Carol, thank you. So, and you can build more off of these. That's, that was what we were hoping for. And so now it's time to just add the gadgets and get your dashboard ready to go. Okay, so and then if you navigate away from this area, because we will be moving on to dashboards, if you ever want to come back or see the listing of your filters, you will always have to go to this view all filters option. So because if you just click up here, it will just collapse the menu option. So you have to click this view all filters. And then mine is up here. And I created mine as private. Okay, so let's move on to the dashboard. Awesome, thank you. Same thing, we will, I'm assuming most of you would just have the default dashboard, and that's what we will be working off of. You can disregard everything else here. So this is the easiest way. You can create a dashboard from scratch, but I mean, there's a template available, so why not just use this? And that's how I have the instructions laid out in the documentation. So the default dashboard has some gadgets already that we will definitely want to get rid of. We're just gonna add the ones that are relevant to you. And the very first step in creating our dashboard is to click here, the three dots in the right corner. And let me know if somebody doesn't have access to this. And then we would choose copy. So default dashboard, three dots, copy. Okay, and this is where you can start, giving it fun names, whatever you want your dashboard to say. You can, make it your name, you can make it anything funny or just you can get creative with this. I will just name this my dashboard. Description, I mean, you can add one. I normally don't. And so the dashboard, you would, I don't know, can you confirm if you have options for groups on this one as well? I would assume so. If you had the same options you had for the filters, should be available in case you do not want to make these private. Okay, editors, but not viewers, just like here. It's interesting that they allow you to edit it. I mean, they allow other users to edit it, but not view it. Some have it on the both. So I'm guessing it has to do with the setup for for each individual ITC. I would really not recommend having your dashboard after all this work made available this way. I can show you a way how you can share it, but I would not give them edit rights to yours. That's just, my opinion, but it's up to you. It's just, for situations when you're counting on seeing something the way you have set it up and they're able to change it. So I don't even have any other option than keeping it private. And I will go ahead and save. Okay. Sounds good, Brianna. Thank you. So here is the dashboard. This is the template basically. So we will be editing this because most of these gadgets you will not use. So if you click on edit, it should say you are currently editing your dashboard. Changes will be saved automatically. So what's nice that whenever you remove a gadget from this platform, it will not really get rid of it. It will just move it into this menu option. So you can always retrieve it and add it back. So, no damage done. Feel free to click delete because, everything can be easily retrieved from the side panel on the right. it will ask you if you wanted to delete it. We'll confirm yes. Which one did I delete? Assigned to me. So assigned to me would not be relevant to any of you because these are specific to us. So we have service tickets assigned to us, or the developers have these JIRAs assigned to them, but you will not have any tickets assigned, any of these assigned to your name. So that's why we're getting rid of that. So the company JIRA. Thanks, Becky. So the company JIRA activity streams, same thing, that's only specific to SSDT. So I will go ahead and delete this. We will clean this up and then add all the good ones. Introduction, it's up to you. I mean, it gives you a link to the user guide if you want to keep it. The JIRA user guide is quite technical, so I don't know if you want to go out there and see, all these JQL language terminologies, and some things might, be useful, but it's up to you if you want to keep this introduction gadget. So that's what it really does. It shows you that, you're on a JIRA page, and it gives you access to the user guide. I always remove this because it's just cleaner. So I'll go ahead and delete. Okay, and then projects. We used to actually use these a lot, but as I mentioned, they got rid of this gadget. So if I click to delete this, it will actually tell me that this gadget is no longer available, I believe. So you will not need the projects gadget, because that will pull in everything, and it's really for it's in a format that's only relevant to the developers. So I will go ahead and delete this. Okay. So there I am, nothing left. Oh, sorry. That's not what I meant to do. Here it is. I wanted to get this panel back in. Is everyone on the screen? Was everyone able to go through the cleanup steps? Thank you. Okay, so now we can look at the ones that are truly useful and make sense based on what we have already created, all the start filters, and there's really 3 gadgets that will be useful to you. So I will start off, and that's in the documentation. So we actually under step 3. Here we are. We're creating our custom dashboard. Okay, so we made a copy of our default dashboard. Adding a gadget. So here is the listing of the gadgets. So we have the start filters gadget. There's going to be a filter results gadget and the watched issues gadget. Everything else would be of really no use to you at the ITC end. Even on our end, I don't really look at the other ones much ever. So, so the first gadget is the start filters. And you can go ahead and click add. And that moves it to the side. I will just do them one by one after customizing these. So this very first one, start filter. So this will pull in any custom filter that you created, because by default, all of those will be marked as starred. So this filter will pick up anything that you created. And then we're gonna go ahead and let's okay. So this will have show issue counts. Yes, so that's why I was expecting to see more menu options, but this gadget is basically a summary of all those filters. So it will give you a listing, but it will not include those details where you have all those columns underneath the queries where, we customized it, added fixed version and everything. This is just a summary. And so and it will tell you under each filter how many issues are included. And I would check auto refresh, update every 15 minutes. It's going to run in the background, just do it. And you don't have to worry about keep refreshing it whenever you access it. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And this is what it will look like. So I had a couple of other previously built filters in here, my start filters. Thank you, Ashley. And then we have so everything that you just created should be in here, and look how many issues are under each filter. Is that did everyone create this gadget, and do you see the count? Awesome. Okay. It's so hard when I'm used to doing live trainings. Thank you. Okay, so we can move on and add our next gadget. This will be just useful for you to get an idea. Gosh, SSDT has this many outstanding issues, and what's nice that you can actually click on your filter. Then you will receive that detail view, and within the detail view, you can search for specific issues. So you can just, this is USPS. So let's see, if you enter overtime under the search, it will give you all the overtime ones. But that's more like the shell, like that gadget is just like a summary, and then you can just do your searches once you click each specific filter within the gadget. If you wanted to search by issue number, you would have to make sure that the entire number is entered with the dash. So it will not, if you just try to use 7447, oops. Yeah, it's not going to work any other way. So you'll have to use the entire number, which, it works, but it will narrow it down just to that. If you have it, you grab it, from another document, you can just paste it in here and it will give you the details. And let me watch this issue also, because I want to have more items for my next gadget. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now how to watch issues. What this does, once you click that watch, it will trigger emails every time there's an update on this specific issue. And you will receive that email, but then you'll be able to easily monitor it through that gadget as well, through your dashboard now. So, because I know everybody gets so many emails at the ITCs, your inbox is packed. So this might be an easier way just to have this one, a specific location where you can go back and Just you all you have there is your watched issues to review those. Okay, so back to where I was. Okay, so if I wanted to go back to my dashboard right now, I have to scroll down here and click this dashboard. And that takes me back. I do recommend once we have it all built out, well, now that you have it named, you gave it a specific name. At this point, I totally recommend bookmarking it. That's how I access it. It's in my bookmarks every morning. I just click straight on there, and just like how you open the wiki, I'm sure that's the first thing you do in the morning. So as long as it already has a name, and you know, this is gonna be your dashboard. You're gonna walk away with a dashboard, which was the goal. Okay, so here we are, back to edit mode. So whenever you navigate away, and you want to make additional changes, you have to make sure you click on edit. I try to, I struggle with it sometimes because I didn't notice that I wasn't in edit mode. Okay, and the next gadget is along the same lines. It's called filter results. So this is the detailed version of what I just created here. So we have the start filters is the summary. This will actually give you all the options you would like to see on there. So let's scroll down. And you can choose start or any other filter for this specific gadget. So as you can see, I see all the other filters that are preset by SSDT. I would probably still use mainly your start filters because the other ones might be way too overwhelming. So I don't want, well, I can use this one. And I believe like, yeah, if I would recommend you using the one you just created. And number of results, it defaults to 10. It can go up to 50. I usually keep it at 10 because it's, first of all, because of my eyes, I want to be able to read them. And then also, you know, it just takes up a lot of room on the page. Columns to display. So this is where you have some flexibility, and these are the options I was looking for under the summary. So the issue type, you definitely want that summary, priority, and then you can go down here and choose additional options. So what else would we want to see? Definitely want fixed version. I think that's what everyone's looking for. Fixed version. So it added it up here, and then you can just keep going and add as many columns as you like to see. Because this gadget will be displaying all the columns. It will not be, it will be in detail format. Labels. So that's a good one also. I use this mainly because there's times when the developers will note specific comments under the labels, for instance, like the roadmap issues. So anything that's on the 2026 roadmap would be listed under a label. So if that's something you would like to monitor, then I definitely recommend adding this because you can also then create a filter just on the roadmap items, you know, for the specific year that you're monitoring. I'm sorry, what is key? Key, we'll see. Let me create the, I'm curious. I'm pretty sure that's a key column to have because they have it in the default, but I will keep it in there. I'm sorry, I have to see what it ends up being once I create it. And then and I would always suggest to click the auto refresh every 15 minutes. So we have all the columns added. Results. Okay. Oh, thanks, Michelle. I would I was thinking it has to be just a key component there. I just wish they labeled it something more helpful. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and save. And we definitely do not like this layout, right? I mean, this is a detail view, and I definitely don't like that I can't see much here. And you see the change layout option up here. If you click that, this is where you can choose the different layout options. So if you want everything in one column, that will be probably like, just the most, like the widest display. So you'll be able to see more, and this will be actually more visible once I close this. So there you go. This is what it would look like if you use the one column layout. You can also change it to 2, which means it will add one of the gadgets. I move my start filters here, which I can move up here if I want to. So it will make sense to have like the summary first and then the key results, but I would do it in one column, honestly, because you're able to see a lot more if you have it displayed like this. So they're just going to be underneath, one will be underneath the other. So this is my preferred layout, but whatever works best for you. Okay. And oh, we still have one more gadget. So anytime this gadget, if you close out of this to reopen it, you have to click this add gadget option. And we have one more left, which is watched issues. Okay. So now this is where it will give you a listing of all the issues you're watching, and what's nice, you can have like the actual number of watchers listed on there. So issue type, key. Oh, I didn't check the key. Was that it was the number, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And so for watched issues, I don't think it automatically has watchers included. So you do want to make sure you add it as a column. And then whatever else would be important in an issue you're watching, once again, fixed version. As I mentioned, it's like limited to very few options. Like you don't have to worry about like adding all of these just in case, because I mean, a lot of this is also designed for developers, and we do not want to make it too overwhelming. Here's the created option, would work sometimes. for an issue, because then you want to know like how long it's been around for, and then fixed version. Oh, I already have it. Okay. I think I'm good with these columns. You can also choose this option to include resolved issues in case you were watching something and it's already been resolved, then you can just remove it or stop watching the issue. And I'll show you what it looks like and how easily you can change that. And then also you can show watchers per issue in that gadget display section. That's why we wanted to add a column, but like we also want to have a count. And then update every 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and see. Is there for release date? No, we don't have the release dates, just the release version. So, the release dates are usually, we communicate those for anything that the developers confirmed, but, those are not, available, not even to us. 'Cause those can change and, yeah. But you can always email, if you see the fixed version, you can always open a ticket and check, like, do you have an idea on the release date for the specific fixed version? And we can check with the developers, they can confirm if they already know what date they expect to have the release out. Okay, so here are my watched issues. So here is this usage issue. I only have 2 watched issues. I'm sure you have a lot more. I know I have a lot more under my other account. Yeah, it will show you when it's due. Well, this one is because I had that option checked. To include resolved issues. This way I'm able to tell that this was fixed. It was fixed in 2025. So I can just click here and click stop watching. And it will remove it because like you don't want to have anything in there that's already resolved. But sometimes, I just don't go back to remove or, stop watching. But you can easily do that just by, through your dashboard that you have built out now. So I'm going to stop watching it and it refreshed. Oops. Yeah. So it removed it. There I am back to 1. Okay, and now we just have the layout. I mean, are we still good on time? We're good, right? Okay, so we have everyone should have a dashboard now. If you like to, add additional columns, you can just go back to edit. And as I mentioned, you can't really do much with the summary with the start filter gadget, but you can add more columns to the filter results if you like to see more here. And so here's an example of a label. So this one is just, they noted that the QA was completed on this, so testing was done at that time. Like I said, roadmap items will be marked as such as well. So that's where you would find the roadmap labeling under that column. And then start filter. So in order to edit any of these, you click on the edit option on here and then click on the 3 dots by each gadget. And unfortunately, they're not consistent with the terminology because it's edit in one place. Here it's configure. So if you want to edit anything under a gadget, you have to click on configure. And then it will take you back to this initial setup screen. Also, we can, as I showed you, you can play around with the layout, and there's a couple more options. If you ever want to delete a gadget that you don't find useful, I mean, there's only so many, so I don't see how, like I mean, if you only find that you end up using one more often than the others, you can definitely just keep the one gadget, but you have flexibility with how you would like to maintain this. So, and then you have an option to delete it, which, as I mentioned, it will only move it back into that list. So you will not really lose the option of being able to re-add it. So you can always, if you change your mind, you can go back to your add gadget panel and retrieve it from there. And this is the fun part. So you can actually give your gadget, and this highlight color only highlights the header. So you see how this changed to red? You can make them all different colors. And I like to play around with this because I am one of those few people who likes to work in dark mode. And this, I actually changed all my settings just for the training. But I'll also show you how you can, oops, I wanted a different color. So I have 3 different colors on my headers. And now if you go to up here where you have your user profile, yes, I'm yes, yeah, SSDT user, or whatever your username is. If you click here, you'll see the theme option. And here it is. And look how pretty it is. Now you can really see the colors. I mean, I don't know, for my eyes, this is a little better. I agree. Thank you. I always work in dark mode because it's just so much easier in my eyes. But it's also like to have these colors in there helps because it's not just a boring, dark page. So it's up to you. You have that option of isn't this cool? I mean, you have a dashboard and you can do as many searches you'd like, and now everything is batched together. You can go to your districts and, have, relay all the pending work items and discuss things with them. Same thing as far as you receiving feedback. It's easier for you to check. You go in here and check if there's already an issue created for that. Like, oh, okay, yeah, so this is not the only person reporting it. And then you can also reach out to us and tell us that, we had another district report this issue, and then we just keep increasing the number of times requested, and that's when we'll get it resolved sooner than later, hopefully. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I see some comments that there's some dashboards set up and ready to go. And if you encounter anything as you start utilizing this and questions come up, please do not hesitate to reach out. Open a ticket, and we can, work with you, help you set these up, and make sure that I have not forgotten to cover anything. Let me see. And then the documentation has been updated. I will add a couple more details that we discovered today. Thank you. Any questions? Is there as far as the filters, creating filters, or how to use this dashboard? And like I said, it's a huge resource for the ITCs because it shows everything that's going on, like it's really, now you have it in one place and you can go ahead and access it and just do your own, searches. The information is out there. You can track progress on many of the issues, and if you don't see something in there that, is being reported to you, then definitely reach out so we get new ones created. And, the goal is to get everything set up, fixed and running smoothly for everybody, right? That's our dream. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. I was hoping that, yeah, with this being hands-on, it would be somewhat more productive, because I know how hard it is at the ITCs to carve out time for anything. We're always multitasking, and once this is in place, it's, just right there available to you. So that was the goal. And yeah, we welcome any additional feedback. If you feel that trainings like this would be helpful with any other areas, please let us know. Okay, well, if there are no further questions, I'll let you get back to work, and I'll let you get back to creating more filters.
Thank you so much.